So, a couple of weeks ago I made a video about how to shop for MacBooks on eBay, basically on how to get the best deals and how to avoid sellers that overcharge you. So today I'm going to be doing a similar thing with For Parts listings. So this is for those of you who are interested in getting into MacBook flipping. If you want to buy MacBooks that are broken, repair them and sell them, this video will hopefully give you some sort of a guide as to what to avoid when you're searching on eBay for parts laptops. And before we hop right into the footage that I have recorded on eBay, I want to remind you all to go and join my new subreddit. So I started this new subreddit a couple of days ago, and my intention is that you guys can use it for discussion. So anything that you see in today's video, you can talk about listings, your experience repairing MacBooks, advice, that sort of thing. All of that is over in my new subreddit. Head on over. We're growing fast, and I hope to keep it going in the future. And without further ado, let's hop right into today's video. Okay, so here we are on eBay, and the first thing that you should really do when you're looking for For Parts MacBook Pros is, I personally just look up MacBook Pro, and then I go down and check condition, 4 parts are not working. This gives you a pretty good selection. I went down this front page and I picked out a couple things that looked interesting, so let's investigate a little further. So, right here we have parts, MacBook Pro 13-inch, 2.5 GHz Core i5, 4 GB of RAM, 250 GB hard drive. So, this, as far as we can tell, it looks like we have a mid-2012. This is a smaller hard drive than the computer normally has, so that's something to keep in mind. It should have a 500 GB hard drive. Now, if we scroll down and we look at the description, which I guess is right over here, this machine will not turn on unless you hold the power button all the way through the chime. Power seems inconsistent. Then sometimes when you put it to sleep, it will turn all the way off. Untested beyond this. Unit could have additional issues, and no matter what the issue, there is no return. So this is an interesting machine here because this doesn't have an issue that we can clearly pinpoint. So computers that are kind of vague like this, I personally stay away from if I'm trying to make some money, because I don't know what the problem with this could be. It looks like it works inconsistently, so that could be an easy fix. It could be, I don't know, it could be anything from the hard drive not being so good all the way up to serious issues with the motherboard. So I would stay away from stuff like this. It does look tempting. $250 with free shipping is not a lot of money, and it seems on paper like this could be a good deal, but there's simply too much unknown about this laptop. Alright, so this next one, we have a late 2013 13-inch, looks like a base model, although it has 16 GB of RAM, so it's good to see that sort of thing. So this is a missing SSD laptop. These are very common, and these are actually pretty decent options because, you know, I've dealt with these a bunch of times. The computer that I'm recording this on right now, I actually bought as a missing SSD laptop, and for the most part, these are pretty good. They work. This one looks like it's in pretty decent condition. I don't see anything too bad. There's a few nicks on the top of the lid, a little bit around the power port. Looks mostly like normal wear for a four and a bit something year old laptop. So as you can see, this item works. It's been tested with an external hard drive. It said in the description that all we need to get this computer fully functional is a power adapter and an SSD. Now, this price of $525 is interesting because that doesn't seem like all that much, but SSDs for these computers are very expensive. The SSDs that go in these are proprietary, and I have yet to find an adapter that allows an M.2 SSD to work with it. So you're going to have to buy an OEM SSD, and they're very expensive. So a 256 gigabyte will run you about $200, a 128 will run you about $130, and a 512 will run you almost $300. Now, this model you could probably get away with putting a 128 in, but $525 with $14 shipping. If we do this math here, we've got $525 plus 14 plus, let's say, $25 for a used charger, plus $130 for an SSD. That's $700 right there. This machine will not make you money if you put $700 into it. Heck, I wouldn't buy this machine for $700 if I were looking for a fully functional machine. So that's the problem that you run into when you have these missing SSD laptops. They are often overpriced. Alright, so if we scroll down this a little bit, that looks interesting. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so the display randomly gets to sleep. That's a little worrisome to me because this is a 2011 model. The first thing that I'd be thinking in my head is that this has graphics card failure. And if you look at the dock, it's got the white dock, which means the translucency is turned off. Those are just little warning signs, so I would stay away from that. Here's another listing right down here, and it's $325. It's got an i7 2.8, 8 gigabytes of RAM, late 2013 Retina. Now, it says read description. I guarantee you there's more to this than meets the eye. See, as soon as you see read description and a low price, you know that you've got something here. So, machine does not power up. This, for all intents and purposes, is a brick. So, it can be very, very tricky to find MacBooks that are worth fixing. Oh my goodness. Oh no. That's a goddamn Christmas tree. So, jeez. Oh, this makes me so sad. This computer is toasted. They want $350 for this? This thing is absolutely ruined. Oh my goodness. Oh. This makes me sad. This listing literally makes me sad. Powers on and goes to Ben. I like how they don't even say anything in the description about how this very, very, very clearly has the crippling graphics card defect. This computer is literally a piece of trash. I can't think of a single thing that you could use on this. The bottom is bent. The lid has a huge dent in it. The frame is completely ruined. There's no SSD. The motherboard is fried. This computer is absolutely toasted. Okay, so as you can see, just looking this up doesn't yield you the best results. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look up MacBook Pro 2012. Sometimes more specific listings give you better results. So I've selected For Parts Are Not Working, obviously, and it looks like we've got a bunch of options here. Okay, so here's something that's interesting to take a look at. Now this one is an auction. I stick with buy it now. Oftentimes auction prices can get inflated because people want to win it. But this MacBook Pro, this is a 2012. This is a mid-2012 with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Now this one has a cracked screen, so those screens can be pretty expensive. Probably about $275 if you want to replace the screen. So that's not too bad. Seeing if this probably gets into the $400 range, I'd say that's about the roof, about $450. Any more than that, and this starts to become not really profitable. This does have the added benefit of 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's very good to see. Now, if we go down here, we can see we do have an SSD. That is fantastic. It'll power on. That's interesting. Okay, so always read the description. Unit will power off after running for a while and not power on. That could be graphics card issues, could be motherboard issues, could be hard drive issues. That's kind of one of those nebulous situations that you don't really want to deal with. However, listings like these can be very good because oftentimes if you can get a good price on something like this that has the i7 upgraded 16 gigabytes of RAM and has an SSD in it, then the only thing that you really need to replace on this is the display. And you know, $275, it's a lot, but it's a high quality display, and if you get it for cheap enough, you can still make some money. Now, one of the other things that I like to look up is MacBook Pro flashing folder, because More often than not, these are likely to be just missing hard drives. Alright, well here's an example on something you might be able to make some money off. This is... so it's a 15-inch, but it's got a Core i5, that means it's a 2010. Looks a little dirty, but I don't see any major damage. So it looks like it only has 1 gigabyte of RAM. As you can see right here, 1 gigabyte. So basically $200. That's a little bit high. I'd like to see this a little bit lower than that because you'd need a battery, stick a hard drive in it, probably like a 500 gigabyte or something, stick some RAM in it. You could probably make $50 to $100 on this laptop. Alright, so thank you guys for watching this video. I'm going to be making more of these as I look through eBay and I find more laptops that look like they are worth flipping. But I think it's important to go through stuff like this and show you guys what isn't worth flipping, because there's a lot of stuff on eBay in the For Parts category that's just not something that you could really make money off of. They're not profitable. I mean, perhaps if you had parts already, they would be, but if you are like me and you're going to buy a laptop and then buy the parts to fix it, it's very tricky to find something that is worth buying. So this laptop is probably the only one that you might be able to make some money on. And to be honest, it would probably not be the best profits. Because you gotta remember, eBay takes like a 10% fee, and then PayPal takes a 2% fee, so you're getting basically 12% of your profits taken away. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.